President Cyril Ramaphosa's answer to former President Jacob Zuma's opposition to his urgent interdict bid is due in just under 2 hours. Newzroom Afrika has confirmed that Ramaphosa's legal team is working on his submissions. Now, the papers relate to the urgent interdict application that Ramaphosa launched on the 26th of December. Our reporter Erin Bates following this case for us, and she joins us live from the South Gauteng High Court. Erin, good morning to you. What an interesting case this is. So, President Zuma, former President Jacob Zuma, telling the court what his motivation is and perhaps what's driving this criminal case against President Ramaphosa. Are you able to spell it out for us? What exactly is it?
Yes, Xoli, and just to put that in context, of course, the President is arguing that there is malicious intent here. You may remember the Presidency statement in which Ramaphosa rejected with the utmost contempt what he called an abuse of the legal process allegedly by the former President. And so Zuma, in his answering affidavit opposing this urgent interdict that the President is seeking, says the following, and I quote, "Nothing will deter me as the victim from the ultimate goal of attaining justice against all who have criminally participated directly or indirectly in my deliberate humiliation at the hands of my prosecutors turned persecutors." Zuma also tells the court that, quote, "My sole intention is to secure conviction and punishment of the applicant." That's the President. The offence for which he is charged carries the possible heavy penalty of 15 years imprisonment. It is no light matter, says the former President.
Sure. Let's then continue with the theme around what the former President Zuma says against President Ramaphosa's interdict, and that is that Zuma contends it is without merit and must be struck from the roll or set aside with punitive costs. Why does it think it's premature?
Well, Zuma is arguing that any grievances Ramaphosa has about this private prosecution he's driving against the President should be raised on the 19th of January, which is the date that Zuma has to mind for the President's first appearance on that summons. Of course, the President has argued that the summons is defective, and he actually issued that notice to Zuma, effectively giving him a deadline or an ultimatum to withdraw it, which Zuma, of course, didn't do. And Ramaphosa said he would then take whatever measures necessary, including in law. In reply to that ultimatum, really, from Ramaphosa, Zuma says to the court that the President was displaying executive swashbuckling and was using bully boy tactics. Zuma is saying any issues that Ramaphosa has should not be heard in motion court. They should be heard in the criminal proceedings. And of course, what's important to underline there, Xoli, is that if that's what the court decides, if the court agrees with Zuma, then Ramaphosa will be due here on the 19th of January to appear and be criminally charged. So, the prospects of this are incredibly high, not least because of the provisions in the ANC's step-aside rule. Zuma is saying that Ramaphosa's application here is premature, and he's referred to a number of cases to justify his argument, really pushing and motivating hard for the President to appear in the dock. And what the President is hoping to achieve on Thursday is a court sanction, an exemption from having to show face as a privately criminally accused come the 19th of January.
Very interesting indeed. Finally, Erin, are you able to tell us whether there are other parties to this case apart from the two presidents, and in the same breath, what is likely to happen today?
So what is interesting here is that the Director of Public Prosecutions in KwaZulu-Natal, the NPA, and the Registrar of this court here, the South Gauteng High Court, are all named in the President's urgent interdict application. The DPP and KZN and the NPA were due to file any opposition to the interdict by 12 o'clock yesterday. Mthunzi Maga, the spokesperson for the NPA, has not yet responded to my queries about whether or not that deadline was reached. And I hate to admit failure on air, Xoli, but we are pushing for confirmation of yes or no, and indeed from the Registrar of the High Court. And in terms of what we can expect today, once those papers are in by the President, we'll know what his retort is to the arguments that we've been reflecting here from the former President, who of course is driving to have his successor in court come the 19th. And one thing just to add there as well is that in his submission, Zuma deals with the step-aside rule of the ANC. He deals with the allegation that he purposefully timed the issuing of the summons on Ramaphosa for the day prior to the elective conference, and insists that is not the case. There was nothing sinister in the timing whatsoever. And he also says if he wanted to topple the President's chances of a second term as leader of the ANC, he had plenty of opportunities to do so. He's here because he believes the President has committed a crime, and he wants the President in the chalky for 15 years.
We shall see how things pan out. Thank you very much for the time being. Erin Bates, our reporter, watching this case very, very closely.